For the past 70 years, the world has been told that an invasion of Taiwan is imminent. The American military-industrial-congressional complex needs threats to justify wartime budgets, and China provides one excuse. American warships and aircraft routinely operate just off China's coast. If China complains, the world is warned that China is threatening military action. The good old "China will soon invade Taiwan" tale is a perpetual favorite. In reality, China lacks the naval power to invade Taiwan, and attempting to conquer this large island would prove bloody, devastate the Chinese economy, lead to domestic unrest, and may not succeed. An invasion of Taiwan would be the largest amphibious operation in history. The massive June 1944 Allied invasion of France landed 156,000 soldiers on the beaches of Normandy. They outnumbered the German defenders 3-1, yet struggled to push inland. Taiwan is mountainous, so has few possible landing sites, and has spent 70 years fortifying these approaches. It has a mobilized army of 2 million men, so China would need an invasion force of 6 million to assure victory. It would need to amass at least 1 million men to land in the first week, and stockpile and transport supplies to support them in combat for a month. The Allies spent 2 years assembling a force to invade France. The 1944 Normandy invasion fleet comprised of 1,213 warships, yet China has just 240, and none are battleships with big guns that blasted German defenses. The Allies used 4,862 landing craft and 864 merchant vessels to land 156,000 soldiers. China would need to land at least 1 million soldiers in the first month, yet only has 60 amphibious ships that can carry a total of 26,000 men at a time. And it's a 5-hour boat ride from the mainland to Taiwan, plus loading and unloading times. China is growing rapidly and expanding its navy, but it would take a decade and a huge investment to produce the needed ships and landing craft. According to a 2019 Pentagon study titled "China Can't Execute Major Amphibious Operations, Direct Assault on Taiwan," link below, quote, "China does not appear to be currently investing in the equipment likely required for a direct assault on Taiwan, such as large amphibious assault ships and medium landing craft necessary for a large beach assault. There is no indication China is significantly expanding its landing force at this time," end quote. China does have a large fleet of commercial ships, but most are container ships that need huge port cranes to offload. Some smaller ships have their own cranes to offload at small ports, and a few have roll-off ramps to transport cars and trucks, but these would have to anchor offshore because of their deep draft, and each would require dozens of landing craft to offload, which would take days. In addition, it would take months to assemble and load all these ships for an invasion. The world would easily notice this activity, and the Chinese people would suffer since these ships support its economy. Taiwan would have plenty of warning to prepare, while the United States and Japan deploy forces to the region and protest the buildup. China could devastate Taiwan with air and missile strikes, yet this would achieve nothing but an economic embargo by its major trading partners. Taiwan would fire missiles back at China, and Japan and the United States may strike China too. This senseless effort would cause major economic and political unrest in China, because Han Chinese on the mainland would not approve the senseless killing of thousands of Han Chinese on Taiwan. Before an invasion is attempted, China would need to silence Taiwan's fortified offshore islands. China has no ships with big guns to blast coastal fortifications like the Allies had in World War II. It would take weeks to destroy the guns and missiles on these islands, since they have 60,000 soldiers in concrete forts and 70 modern tanks to launch counterattacks. China would then confront hundreds of sea mines planted to block landing beaches on Taiwan. Americans are familiar with General MacArthur's very successful amphibious landing at Incheon, Korea in 1950. This surprised the North Koreans, so they deployed dozens of sea mines that thwarted a landing at Wonsan a month later. The amphibious operation at Wonsan was a disaster for the U.S. Navy, as 4 minesweepers were sunk and numerous sailors killed or injured. Soldiers embarked on transports had to wait 5 days offshore for lanes to be cleared, which only succeeded after North Korean guns withdrew northward. Taiwan has far superior sea mines and is developing 2 types of high-tech influence mines and a self-propelled mine to add to its inventory of hundreds of sea mines. These can be emplaced by boats, ships, or aircraft within a week to block all approaches. It would take a Chinese invasion force weeks to clear them. When they finally hit the beaches, Chinese invaders will encounter 2 million well-trained and well-equipped Taiwanese dug into fortifications, supported by millions more armed civilians. China would expend most of its expensive missiles and lose many expensive aircraft while facing potential attacks from the United States. There is no guarantee that China would prevail and could be forced to withdraw whatever forces it landed. This is why China will never attempt to invade Taiwan. Some claim that Chinese commandos could secretly land and take over Taiwan's government. If that were possible, China would have tried this already. That's as plausible as thinking Taiwanese commandos could land in Beijing and take over all of China. Others promote nutty ideas that thousands of paratroopers could land and take Taiwan. Paratroopers land with enough ammo to fight for a day or two and would be outnumbered at least 10-1 by local Taiwanese forces backed by tanks. Thousands of paratroopers would die as dozens of transports are shot down, and those that land would be killed or captured within days. Frequent American media reports about frictions between China and Taiwan convince most Americans they are serious enemies. But today's Chinese have no memory of the Civil War that ended in 1949. China is Taiwan's largest trading partner, accounting for 31% of total trade. Over 4 million mainland Chinese travel to Taiwan each year as tourists, twice as many as the second most country, Japan. Taiwan has no concerns about these 4 million red Chinese tourists who invade each year. Likewise, 6 million Taiwanese visit China each year, a quarter of its population. The Han Chinese in Taiwan and China know each other well, speak the same language, and do much business. Sometimes their leaders talk tough and their generals warn of dangers to bolster their budgets. But Taiwan has cut its military budget over the past 2 decades and slashed the size of its active army in half. Obviously, the people and government of Taiwan have little concern about an invasion, so they spend just 2% of their GDP on defense. American warmongers ignore these facts. They insist that a formal alliance with Taiwan is needed, and they want to base American troops there. They can't understand that conditions have drastically changed since 1949, and Taiwan wants no alliance nor American troops. Taiwan wants peace, and some citizens recall that the United States military carpet-bombed its cities during World War II. See the short video link below. If the United States clashes with the Chinese military in the China Sea, Taiwan will remain neutral while most of its citizens cheer for China. The United States must understand that any military technology it provides to Taiwan's military is discreetly shared with China through widespread business and educational contacts. The political future of Taiwan is unclear, but it can defend itself and has voluntarily become part of China's economic sphere. So China will never invade Taiwan.